Welcome. It is Monday, June the 29th. It is hot and humid out. This is Motivational Monday. I do this live every Monday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, and then I post it up inside of our Worry-Free and Joyful Living Facebook group, and I also post it on YouTube. And so if you're watching a replay of this and you want to know how to come to it live, you got to join either the Worry-Free and Joyful Living Facebook group to get access to the Zoom link, or join our paid Club Recreo membership to get access to this, plus all of my other live classes. And you can do that at myrecreo.health. Okay, welcome to Motivational Monday, everybody. Today, I'm going to talk about 10 things to unlearn. So if you were with us last week, we talked about limiting beliefs and how I don't actually like calling them limiting beliefs because they are actually just our subconscious influence, and we can change our subconscious influence. So this is a little bit of an add-on to last week about what are some things that we can unlearn, or what is some programming in our brain that we can unlearn. So make sure you grab a glass of water, everybody. Water ensures efficient electrical and chemical actions between the brain, the nervous system, and the sensory organs. That means our brain needs water to think. It's an electric organ, and water conducts electricity. All right, how's everybody feeling? Let me know in the chat box. How are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10? If you're watching the replay, write it in the comments section or write it down on a piece of paper. The point of doing a check-in activity is to give our brain evidence at the end that what we learned wasn't woo-woo, that it was real, and that it's actually making a difference in our lives. So we've got some 9 out of 10s. I'm going to give myself a 9 out of 10. I just did a little walk in suntan on the beach here in Toronto. We got an 8.5. We got a 7. We've got 9. Have been having a good day. Heart emojis. You can do thumbs up emojis, whatever feels good for you. Okay, so here's our quote for today. Half of wisdom is learning what to unlearn. What do you think? Let me know in the chat box. I already see some heads with cameras on nodding in agreement. You can put an emoji. You can put a yes. You can put a thumbs up. I see some thumbs up emojis. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Lots of thumbs up emojis. Okay. Here's my curious question. When you were growing up, what ideas did you learn about? Right? So think about that as we go through this. And by ideas, I mean, what are some things that you do now that you're just like, that's what adults are supposed to do. That's what adults do. That's what growing up is. Right? So I want you to think about that. So when you were growing up, what did you think it meant to be successful? So let's say you were 10, 11, 12, maybe even 16, 17, 18, maybe even in your 20s. What was your definition of success? I'm curious. Let me know in the chat box. I would say when I was growing up, when I was maybe like 7, 8, 9, 10, I didn't know what it meant, but I had a vision of what success would be for me. And that, you have to remember, this was the 80s, right? That was like me as a grown-up in a suit, you know, with some shoulder pads in the suit, and, right, and my hair up in like some kind of twist hairdo, and I worked in an office. I don't know what I did, but that was what I envisioned, right, of what is success. I was like a high-powered businesswoman in an office, and that would be success, right? We've got in the chat from Marilyn, to either be a nurse or a teacher was success. Getting good grades was never a question, says Hannah. You had to get good grades. You had to be an A+ student. That's success. Interesting, right? These are things we learned. These are subconscious influences we learned, right? What does success mean? I'm also just going to put out there money, right? Having money means you're successful. Okay, when you were growing up, can you tell me, we've also got in the chat box being a teacher, and I wanted to be the head of a high school department. Oh, yes. Oh, we've got my uncle was an OPP officer. I thought he was so successful helping people. I always want to be like him. And then you ended up in healthcare. Interesting for Vicky. Okay, when you were growing up, what was your best example of love? What did success in love mean? Maybe you didn't have it from your parents or aunts. Maybe it was somebody on a TV show. Maybe you thought, I want to be like Victor Newman and Nikki Newman on Young and the Restless. Right? What was an example of love, and what did you think it meant? And then as you grow up, you learn what you want love to be. What does it mean to you, right? I've got my parents for sure, my nan and my aunt for sure. Maybe it was, we've got my mom. Yeah, we thought I always felt safe with them. Right. When you were growing up, what did you think, or who made you feel worthy? And I know worthy is a big word. It's a word we're using more now, more than we did in the 80s, 90s, aughts or 70s, whatever generation you grew up in, whatever decade you grew up in. But what did you learn meant you were worthy? So we had a comment earlier that like getting good grades wasn't an option. I had to get good grades. So therefore, if you didn't get good grades, did you learn you weren't worthy? Right? Or we could also change the word to lovable or important. Let me know in that chat box. What made you feel worthy? We've also got in the, this is a hard one. I didn't think about it because my father showed unconditional love. Yeah. My teachers and my parents made me feel worthy. Teachers are a big one, right? And look at how many people put teachers. Now, there's probably two reasons why people put teachers. I think that a lot of women feel like teaching is the job option. I think we're told that a lot. There's a high percentage, there's more women than male teachers, especially coming out of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. But also think like teachers are so important. We also want to be teachers and be important. I thought I was going to be a teacher too. Yeah, I thought I was going to be a teacher too. So I also learned that grades were worthiness, which they're not. Right? We might have learned at some point your body size makes you worthy, or your appearance makes you worthy, right? Like we learned somewhere along the lines what makes us worthy of being loved. And you've all heard me say this before. You are worthy just because you exist, right? But that's often not what we're taught. And this, we're not here to blame parents or anything like that. We teach what we know at the time, right? So it's nobody's fault. All right. I want to put that out there right now. Okay. But you're worthy just because you exist, just because you're a human being on the face of the planet, because you know how hard it is for you to exist. It's very hard for you to exist. It's very hard to create a human being. Okay. Scientifically speaking. So you're worthy just because you are. We've got as a single mom. My mom was a superstar. She always cared about each of us. Definitely good marks I needed to have to feel worthy and accepted. I needed to be good at sports too. Yeah. When you were growing up, what did it mean to be strong? Who was strong, or did you, this is an interesting question I like to ask when I'm with a group of women. Did you think you were strong, and did you think you were ever capable of being strong? And what did being strong mean when you were growing up? I, again, grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I didn't think my body could be strong. I just thought girls weren't strong. I mean, I thought we were strong. I was on a rowing team in high school. Of course we were strong, but I also just thought we could never be as strong as men. Like we couldn't have muscles the way men could, or we couldn't be as strong. What did strength mean for you? And here's the thing that I'm learning, and I think a lot of us are learning together, those of you that are members of Club Recreo, when we do our fitness classes together, is that we're actually more capable than we think we are when it comes to strength. Oh, interesting, but I lived on a farm and you had to pull your weight. So you knew what your body was capable of. I didn't. I grew up in the city, so that's interesting. We've got my mom is very strong. I tried to model after her. Interesting. These are great answers. So here's the thing. And this is, we learned a little bit about this last week. If you didn't see last week's workshop, I go deeper into talking about subconscious influence and beliefs. So it's posted in the Facebook group right now. And it's also posted up inside for members inside the membership portal. Okay. We've got, I don't think I thought of it being strong until my 20s. Yeah, me either. Right? But I also didn't think I was capable of being super strong either. So it's kind of like both ways. I was feeling both things. I didn't think I didn't think I could lift heavy things. Yeah. Okay, so your thoughts equal your beliefs, everybody, right? The thoughts that we consistently have give us a window into what our deeper belief programming is, and a window into what our subconscious influence is, because our subconscious influences everything. But here's the thing, just because you have those thoughts does not mean that you have to continue to believe that they are your truth. Becoming aware of them and questioning them is one of our most powerful ways to reprogram them. So again, last week we talked more deeply about the science of what subconscious influence is and the beliefs. And now I want you to question them. Okay. What worked for you then in your childhood, in your 20s, maybe even last year, maybe even 6 months ago? Okay. What worked for you then, or in your teacher's life? And I don't just mean teachers at school. I mean the adults in your life that taught you things, aunts, uncles, parents, babysitters, older brothers and sisters, right? What worked for you then, or what worked for the teachers in your life, what they were teaching you, doesn't necessarily work for you now. And it's okay to question those things. Your idea of success, your idea of worthiness, your idea of love, your idea of healthy relationships. I would even venture to say your idea of health, because that's what I help you challenge, right? Is what is health? What is good fitness? What is good nutrition? It is different than we were taught in the 80s. What is emotional health? What is social health? What is intellectual health? What is healthy relationships, right? It's constantly changing based on your needs and your body and your brain. So you're allowed to choose your thoughts and drop judgment. Because often we think that if we change our thoughts, especially thoughts that we learned as children, teenagers, and young adults, we judge ourselves for not having the same thoughts we did then. Like, who am I now? I thought I was going to be so much further ahead in life than I am now. Or these kinds of thoughts. Or I didn't succeed in what my thoughts were or my goals were from back then, so therefore I'm a failure, right? Just drop the judgment, right? Drop the judgment of yourself. Because things happen, life happens, and things change, and you're allowed to change. Okay? So, that being said, I want to give you 10 simple thoughts that you can unlearn, or that you can try to drop, that might be easier to try to unlearn than the deeper stuff. And of course, we go into the deeper stuff, right, in our group coaching sessions, and letting go on Friday, and brain fitness on Monday, and one-on-one if you work one-on-one with me. Any way that we work together, we do go into the deeper stuff. But I wanted to give you a couple simple things that you can start to unlearn that may be, I'm using quotation marks because I don't like the term limiting beliefs, but maybe limiting beliefs for you, that may be subconscious influences for you. I prefer the term subconscious influence than limiting beliefs, okay? That may be subconscious influences for you. So get a pen and paper if you want to write these down, because these things are going to be simple. They're going to be rewording some things for you, and they are going to be ways you can talk to yourself, or ways that you can talk to others. Hi, Velia. Velia says, sorry I'm late, I was weeding. Good, I'm glad. I hope your garden's beautiful. You got here right at the part where I'm giving you the meat of the conversation anyway. The 10 simple things or thoughts that you can unlearn. Yeah, we've got letting go of thoughts and beliefs that were important in the past can be good. Just because they were important for you then doesn't mean that they are important for you now. It's okay to say, I'm a different person than I was 5 years ago, 5 months ago, 5 weeks ago, 5 days ago, even 5 minutes ago. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to grow as a person. You're not stagnant. All right? Your body is constantly changing. Your soul can change. Your mind can change. Your opinions can change. Okay? Okay, so here we go. If you got your pen and paper out, great. 10 simple thoughts that you can practice unlearning, that you can unlearn. The first one is this, and I'm curious as I go through these, Give me in the chat box, or you can give me a thumbs up emoji if you believe this thought. So what's written in white is usually a subconscious influence, and what's written in blue is what I want you to change it to. Okay, so who somewhere deep down in their brain thinks resting is being lazy? Or who learned that somewhere along the way? Be honest. Give me a yes. Give me a thumbs up. I see some people laughing with their cameras on, so I know that's a yes. Yeah, we've got thumbs up. We've got I no longer believe it. I know because Veli has been a member. Veli is one of our founding members, so she's been with me for 4 years. But I still get a lot of flack from other people that believe it. Yes, don't let them guilt you about it, or educate them, or send them to me. Right? I used to think that, but not now. Yeah. Again, Marilyn's also one of our founding members, so good, right? So instead, I want you to think about this way. Almost everybody gave a thumbs up. Rest equals healing. Do you see how I've simplified this? I've just done a word equals this, okay? So we're really simplifying it for your brain, okay? Rest is healing, okay? The other way that I like to put it, too, is that rest is productive. Rest is productive. And we often think rest is unproductive. And rest doesn't necessarily mean taking a nap. I mean, I'm a big fan of naps, as you know. I usually take an afternoon nap. And I'm lucky that I can do that because I own my own business and I'm designing my life around my health needs. But rest can also be giving your brain a break from being overloaded. It could be doing a doodle. It could be painting. It could be listening to music. It could be sitting in nature. It could be reading a book. It means giving your brain and your body. So maybe your body needs to just stop moving for a bit. Giving your brain and your body relief from being overloaded. That's what rest is. We've got, I can really feel the healing now. Now, whenever you rest, you can feel the healing. We've got, yes, me too. Okay, ready for number 2, everybody? Big aha moment there. Productivity does not equal your worth. So who used to think or thinks the more productive I am, the more worthy I am? Or the more productive I am, the more valuable I am? And maybe you don't think it now. Maybe you're retired. But did you think that when you were working? And do you still think that even if you're retired? We've got, oh, I got this lots when I was still working. Yeah. And you know what? This is a really difficult one to let go of. So even when we retire, or maybe you're like me and you decided to own your own business, or maybe those of you watching out there, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom, or maybe, right? Maybe on the weekends, you just can't, you feel like you have to get everything done on the weekend so that you can prepare yourself for the week, right? Productivity does not equal your worth, okay? Instead, you are worthy just because you are. Your worth is that you're a human being, period. All human beings are worthy. Okay, your worth is just because you exist. And this is a big one, right? So even when I was asking those questions before, right? Worth is related to your grades in school, your marks in school, right? The more productive you are with doing your homework, the better grades you're going to get in school, for example, right? A lot of things lead back to productivity. The cleaner my house is, the more worthy I am because I'm more productive at cleaning my house. The better and more intricate the meals are I make for people, the more worthy I am because I'm a really good and productive chef or cook or baker, right? Yeah, we've got my worth was counted as part of the company's assets. What a message to send yourself. And what a message for your employer to send you to, right? Or the more projects you finish or do. Yeah, I did 10 things today, so therefore I'm more worthy, right? Yeah. Okay, next one. Conflict equals bad. Yeah, we've got thumbs up immediately on that one. Okay, thumbs up emojis. Who believes this? Who used to believe it? Who still believes it? Who is afraid of conflict? Who shies away from it? Who's afraid to stand up for themselves and say to a friend, hey, I didn't like it when you said that? who just lets their friend say things and doesn't say because they're like, oh, it's just going to create conflict and I don't want to do that. Yeah, we've got, ooh, this is a hard one in the chat box. Yeah, because here's the thing. When we always avoid conflict, we're repressing our emotions, right? So this is what I want to say about conflict. You do not have to participate in every conflict. There's two ends of the spectrum, okay? If you are constantly picking fights and finding things to be in conflict about, also not great, okay? So there's the massive avoiding of a conflict over here, and then there is the just like picking fights all the time over here, okay? Both polarized ends of the spectrum aren't great, okay? But in the middle, there's this place where we can participate in conflict resolution. There's a reason for the saying, pick and choose your battles. You cannot fight everything. You would not have enough energy to value yourself, love yourself, experience life, feel fulfilled and satisfied. Okay? We cannot fight every single battle. But we pick and choose the ones that are important to us and that is important for us to see a resolution in the outcome. We don't fight just to fight. That's over here, right? Fighting just to fight. We fight to see resolution. And maybe fight isn't the right word, but conflict. This is going to sound really weird. Okay. But I learned to appreciate conflict. I don't mind it if it's the right kind of conflict because there's always an answer on the other side. There's always more information. Let's say it's like a conflict with a family member or a friend. The resolution on the other side, it might not be the resolution you want. That's what I am going to say. But you learn information, right? If you go in and you have a good discussion where the other person's heard and you're heard, I'm heard and you're heard, and we understand what the other person's saying, we go, this is how we move forward. Or maybe you go, you know what? I don't like what you believe anymore, so we're not going to move forward. But then you also have an answer to not move forward in that relationship other than just ruminating on it. Right? So there's always going to be some sort of resolution for you or some sort of information for you on the other side of the conflict resolution. Right? The information can help you make better choices about how to spend your energy. If you are avoiding conflict, you're just using energy, ruminating, and playing the what if game. Right? Yeah, that's right. If they devalue your viewpoint in the discussion, it gets painful. And guess what? You get to say, this relationship is painful for me now, so I don't want to participate in this relationship anymore because I don't feel valued. But you have an answer. You go, okay, this person's changed. And so maybe I need to back away from them a little bit. Right? Does that make sense? You still get an answer on the other side of the conflict. Yeah. We've got that's a great comment else. We've got lots of people saying, yeah, it's always in how they say it. That's right. But then you get to decide, then you learn more information about who that person is now. Because often we stay in relationships and we avoid conflict because we think the person is who they were 10 years ago. When you come to the table and there's conflict or something that needs to be resolved, you actually learn a lot about who that person is now and who you are now. And that then goes into what we've talked about before, values, needs, and wants, right? It's important for us to gather information so we can make decisions about how we spend our energy and the people we want to be around. So this is what I say about conflict. I don't think it's bad. I think there's always something good that comes on the other side of it. And that information can help you make choices, right? So conflict provides solutions and greater understanding. Right? When you have that information and a greater understanding, you can make a decision about that relationship that you're in conflict with, if you want to participate in it or not. And that's a boundary, right? But if we are just avoiding conflict, or if we are just fighting for the sake of fighting and not actually seeing the solutions on the other side, it's not helpful. So, but there is a place in the middle where conflict is actually a great thing. Conflict is what creates change. All right, we've got makes great sense. Okay. Saying yes equals being kind. Who learned this one? I definitely did. Saying yes equals being kind. If someone asked you for a favor and you say yes, who does this? Someone asks you for a favor, you say yes, and it's a really big favor. It's actually an unreasonable favor that they've asked you to do. But you say yes. And then you spend all this energy on doing that favor, and then you feel resentful. But you think if I had said, you say yes because you think if you had said no, that person's going to think I'm a bad person, I'm a big meanie, I'm not nice, I'm not kind, right? Yeah. Yeah, we've got, you got told this if you were a girl, exclamation point, exclamation point. Yeah. It's hard to say no because we were taught it's hard to say no, right? Yeah, we've also got saying yes, we were taught is being respectful. Oh, this word respect, right? Honestly, what is respectful and what isn't is an opinion. Right? We're taught things that are respect, like it's also like cultural. Like the word respect is such a big word and we really use it to put people down, saying that's disrespectful. And I don't even think it should, like, respect isn't, I don't even think it's a thing. I think it's a thing that's like used to control people, to be honest. It's not about respect. It's about everybody being heard. Nobody is intentionally trying to be disrespectful, right? In many situations, some people are intentionally, but those are the fighters over here on this the end of the conflict spectrum, right? Those are the ones picking fights. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it has many meanings. That's right. So instead of thinking I have to say yes for people to think that I'm kind, I'm a good person, this goes back to people pleasing. At the beginning of the year, we did a whole people pleasing series, right? This goes back to people pleasing. So I want you to think of this. Saying no equals being kind to yourself. Whoa, that is a big flip, right? I see a lot of people nodding their heads. Give me some emojis about that or some yeses in the chat box. Write it down if you have a pen and paper. This is a big one, right? It's a good flip. Yeah, we've got heart emojis, thumbs up emojis. Yeses. Saying no equals being kind to myself. Yeah. Okay, good. I asked this question in, most of you were there, I think, in last Friday in letting go class, in our letting go of worry group coaching and then meditation class. I asked everybody to list the 3 things they love most in the world. So think about the 3 things you love most in the world inside your head right now, those of you that weren't there. Did anybody think me? Nobody thinks me. We've got my husband, my dogs, and food in the chat box, right? The thing that you love the most in the world should be you. And then the other things come after. Because if you love yourself the most in the world, which means it doesn't mean being self-centered or narcissistic. I mean, if you love yourself enough to care for yourself and to make sure that you're healthy emotionally, physically, in relationships, if you love yourself to make sure that you're not getting overwhelmed, burnt out, if you love yourself the most in the world, then you easily and naturally have an overflowing cup where you can give the overflow to the other people that you love in the world, right? So when you're asked that question, you should say me, right? So this is a good way to start that. Saying no actually is not a bad thing. It actually means I'm being kind to myself because I'm setting my boundaries and saying my needs and my wants. Okay. Whoever got told this one? I got told this one a lot as a kid. Feeling deeply equals you're overreacting. Especially in teenagehood, right? I mean, we all overreact. We all feel really deeply when all those hormones are flowing through us, right? But there's another stage in life where a transition's happening where we have a ton of hormones flowing through us or a lack of hormones flowing through us, right? And we feel really deeply. And that's midlife. For women, that's 40 all the way up to like 80, 90, 100. because our hormones drop and they don't come back, right? And we feel really deeply during this time of life. It's actually a really good shift, I think, because we feel deeply more in midlife and in beyond in our active years, right? But that's not overreacting. It's actually, this is what I'm going to say, it's deeply human, right? Feeling deeply rehumanizes us from all of these other beliefs we've already talked about today. All of those other beliefs that we learned covered up feeling deeply or devalued feeling deeply. You have to be productive. You can't rest. You have to get good grades. You have, right? You have to say yes and be kind, right? We relearn how to feel deeply once we hit our 40s, once we hit perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. It's actually a gift that we get as females. It's a pretty awesome gift, to be honest. But we need to change our thoughts about that it's overreacting, right? So instead, yeah, we've got men don't usually show deep feelings. No, they don't. Yeah. Oh, we've already got, I didn't see your comment there, Valley. As soon as I put it up, she said, especially if you're female, feeling deeply equals overreacting. We've got, I have no patience with people who do devalue feeling deeply. Yeah. You get to choose the people you want to hang around. That's right. Right. So here's your flip. Here's your switch flip. Maybe I should have called this workshop. Here's your flip. Instead, feeling deeply is an opportunity to connect to myself and others. We're so lucky that we have perimenopause and menopause, that we have 2 times in our life that our bodies and our brains transition. We're so lucky. We got puberty, and then we get perimenopause. We get it twice. And awesome things happen from both. We're so lucky. And we're learning more and more. And, I'm teaching more and more about how it affects our brain. And it's pretty awesome, actually, what happens to our brain. 40 plus for women. And yeah, we've got some men are learning it, right? And I do want to say that there's a whole movement out there about toxic masculinity. And I'm really lucky. My husband isn't toxically masculine. He's right. So I'm not just like putting men down here, but I'm saying we're lucky because we have an opportunity. We can actually learn it easier because of physiological changes happening in our body. Yeah, we've got, except for the heat flashes. Yeah, I mean, there's things about it that aren't lucky. But I mean, when we hit puberty, there was things about it that weren't great either. Like BO and greasy hair, right? And acne. Okay? But instead of focusing on those things, there's some really awesome things happening too, right? Okay. How about this one? Happiness equals the end goal. And let me go a little bit deeper into this belief. Happiness equals the end goal, and I'm not never going to feel happiness until I get to the end of my life. Like, that's ultimately what we're saying to ourselves when we say happiness is the end goal. Who does this? Well, someday I'll have this. Someday I'll be happy with this. Someday I'll behave the way I want to behave. Someday I won't care what people think of me. Someday, who plays the someday game? I do. Right? But I'm learning how not to as much. Okay? And also, it's not all about happiness. Right? We've got happiness can be anytime. That's right. It's not all about happiness. We actually, again, you guys hear me talk about this a lot, how I talk against a lot of the posts and the messaging out there about manifesting, positive vibes only, all of these things, right? These aren't realistic to the actual human experience. They're actually pretty toxic, right? Feeling everything is the life experience I want to have. And yes, happiness and fulfillment are part of that journey. They're part of the journey. They're not the end goal. So this goes along with one right before, feeling deeply, right? Feeling deeply. Yeah, we're all living this right now for the first time ever at any age. Yes. Yeah. I finally learned to live the best I can each day. Yes. Listen, if you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook and you're not a member of Club Rec Rio, you gotta join, because everybody that's making these comments are the people that have been working with and part of our community for a couple of years now, and we're doing some great stuff together. Okay. I think I have 2 or 3 more. Oh, okay. Vulnerability equals weakness. Thumbs up. Who learned this one? I know most of you don't believe it now, but when you were 16, 17, 18, in your 20s, maybe even your 30s, did you believe if you were vulnerable, that meant you were weak? I mean, I can tell you before my burnout, when I was working in my 9-to-5 corporate job, I was experiencing these feelings and these things. I didn't understand that I was developing this disease called anxiety, right? I didn't understand that I had PTSD from some traumas in my life. And I was afraid to say anything because to my bosses, or I need time off, or I need more time for this, because I thought they're going to think I'm weak and then I'm going to get fired. Right? Yeah. Yeah, we've got, when I was younger, I thought that one a lot. We've got heart emojis. This one was really difficult. And this one can be really difficult, and this one might need to be revisited a lot. But the flip is, you know what the flip is, and it's okay if your brain feels resistance to the flip when I say it, okay? Because this is a very deeply ingrained belief. Vulnerability is strength. And it connects back to this one. Feeling deeply is an opportunity to connect to myself and others. Allowing yourself to feel deeply is vulnerable. Right? Yeah, Brene Brown has great things to say about vulnerability. Yes, she does. Yeah. She studies, so her main topic of study is shame, right? And there's a lot of vulnerability in shame. And there's vulnerability in letting go of shame. Because again, I say this, but I learned it from Brene Brown. You guys hear me say it all the time, but I did learn it from Brene Brown. Shame is I did a bad thing, and nobody should feel shame. Shame is I am a bad thing. I'm a bad thing. I'm a bad person. Nobody should feel that. Guilt and regret is I did a bad thing. And we can learn from that. But you can't learn from telling yourself you're a bad person. There's no lesson there. There's no room for growth. That is literally just something society created to control people and to make us feel like we can't change, right? Shaming someone. Shame shouldn't exist, right? Yeah. Okay, I think this might be number 9. Okay, what about this one? Success equals hustling at all costs, burning yourself out, overwhelming yourself, putting everybody first except for your kids, your nieces, your nephews, your friends, your family members, putting everybody else before yourself and hustling, not getting enough sleep, not getting enough rest. Who learned this at some point in their life? Hands up, I did. That's why I had a total burnout, right? And that's why I started my business. Oh, this is a great comment in the chat box. We got, I am a bad person. Sounds so final. That's right. You can't go anywhere from there, right? You can't go back to this one. You can't go anywhere from I am a bad person. That's why shame shouldn't exist. You can go somewhere from, oh, I did a bad thing, because you can go, I'm not going to do that again. I learned from it. Okay. Anybody learn the success is hustling at all costs? Basically, success means you are to the detriment of yourself and your health, right? And we see this everywhere. We see it in men. We see it in women. We see it in teenagers in high school trying to get good grades to get into university. Like, we are seeing anxiety and burnout in kids in elementary school even now, because there's this like success. There's too much structure. There's too much push. There's too much expectation. Yeah, and we've got, it's big in some countries, certainly the one I grew up in some cultures. That was definitely me a year ago, but I learned it's not helpful. So here's the switch, okay? Here's the flip. Success equals boundaries. The people that I think are successful in life, the people that I look up to in life, have clear boundaries. They make time for themselves, they make time for the person they love, and they can say no. They have clear boundaries around what their needs and their wants are. So success is boundaries. Asking for help means I'm a failure. Oh yeah, I see it on people's faces that are here on the Zoom call. They're going, oh yeah, here's a question that I use sometime in my coaching. What are you pretending not to know, right? When I said asking for help equals failure, if you went, I know that I should say that's not true, but deep down inside, that's what I believe, right? Asking for help is connection. And the thing is, people want to help you. And if you ask for help from one person and they say no, okay, that's not a person that wants to put their energy into you. And maybe you don't want to put your energy into them. Right? Asking for help is not failure. Yeah, we've got, this is another cultural thing for me, right? This is interesting. We've got, I'm still bad at this. I hate bothering people. I don't want to be a burden. This is what I say about asking for help. This is how I want you to practice it. Start with something really small. And be realistic about who you ask for what type of help, right? Like if it's a really big ask, it might need to be like a family member that's really close to you or something, right? But start asking with small asks, right? Maybe you have a neighbor with a car and you guys see each other often and your car's going into the repair shop, like, and you say, could you drive me to pick up my car? Right? Oh, I see eyes rolling at me for that one. Maybe that's too much of an ask. Okay, but ask for something smaller. Literally knock on the door and ask for a cup of sugar. Okay? Or some flour. Okay? But asking for help can create connection. Yeah, this is great. I love this comment in the chat box from Velia. Asking for help can be a way of telling the person that you're asking that you trust them. Yes, I love that. That's a great flip. I like that flip. I might change the slide in this presentation to that actually, because that might be a better flip, right? Asking for help is connection. But I love that. You're telling them that you trust them and they feel trusted when you do that. When someone asks you, you have to go, oh, I'm so honored that they asked me to help them do this. So of course I'm going to help them do that, right? Within your own boundaries, though, if the ask is too big, don't be afraid to say no. Like, I can only help you with half of that, or I'm able to help you with this part, but not this part. Maybe you could ask someone that's more skilled than I am, right? Like, there's ways to say no and still provide help too, but that's a whole other workshop. Okay, this is a big one. I definitely learned this one as a kid. Healing equals get over it or get over yourself. OMG! Who learned this one? This one goes with physical healing, emotional healing, social healing, right? Oh, you got bullied? Get over it. Oh, you twisted your ankle? Get over it. Keep walking. Right? Oh, your feelings are hurt? Get over it. Yeah. A lot of thumbs up going on here, right? Yeah. 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 When you're honestly opening up to someone and their advice is just get over it, that can really hurt. We've got that in the chat box. Yeah. Instead, I know this is a hard one to discuss, and it's okay if you're going, oh, I heard that from a parent or a grandparent or something. We probably all did at some point in our life, right? But that's not healing. If you just get over it, you're suppressing and repressing your emotions. And if you just get over, right, like a twisted ankle and you keep walking on it, you can cause more damage by just pretending that it'll just go away without maybe wearing a tensor bandage for a couple days. Okay? So instead, healing is a journey, whether it's a physical journey, an emotional journey, a spiritual journey, okay? Healing is a journey. It's accepting what has happened to you, its impact, learning what you can from it, and then finding peace. The peace comes when you feel healed. So we cannot just get over it. Okay? We can heal. Okay, that was my 10. So do you want me to, I'll go through the slides really quickly one more time if you didn't get a chance to write down. Healing equals get over it. Asking for help is failure. The flip is asking for help is connection. So maybe just write down the flips if you want. Success equals boundaries. Vulnerability equals strength. Feeling everything is the life experience I want. Happiness and fulfillment are part of the journey. Feeling deeply is an opportunity to connect to myself and others. Saying no equals being kind to myself. Conflict provides solutions and greater understanding. You are worthy just because you exist. Rest equals healing. So we kind of came full circle here because the first one was rest equal healing and the last one was about healing as well. Okay, so I'm curious. I want to read this comment here. Okay. When we heal or recover, we want to be who we were when we were thriving in life. And I'll never be that person. You need to change your definition of what thriving in life is, right? So back to the belief about success, what success is, what vulnerability is, your definition of what happiness is, right? That's a great question. I love all of those questions. And I think a lot of people probably felt that resistance in their brain today too. So thank you for putting that comment in the chat box. Okay. Which one stood out to you the most? Let me know. That can be our checkout today. Oh, can this go on a coloring sheet? Great question. Well, you say that. I announced this morning in brain fitness class. I've created some new coloring sheets, okay? Because coloring with words that are hidden within the coloring sheets or statements within the coloring sheets are one of the best ways to actually reprogram your brain. And you can fill those coloring sheets in again and again and again. So it's consistent, persistent repetition. So those of you that are members of Club Recreo, we have something called our Emotional Wellness Download Library where there's worksheets and recipes and all those things. And I've created some new coloring sheets. They're going up tomorrow, okay? But I'll show you, hang on, I'm gonna share my screen and show you some of the new coloring sheets. If you're not a member of Club Recreo and you're going, I want these coloring sheets, I'm going to tell you in just a moment how you can get them. Okay, so I've created a couple new ones. Okay. My brain doesn't always do what is best for me. It does what is familiar. I'm choosing to do something different today. So you can print that out. You can color it out. It's in two forms. I'm actually curious. Do you like this style better or this style better? You can let me know. One's a little bit more kind of artsy and another one's a bit more like structured. So you can let me know which ones you like better. Every time I choose joy is wired into my brain. I'm choosing joy today. This is off of a doodle that we learned, and I turned it into a coloring sheet. This is off of the first doodle that we learned. You might recognize this one. I don't have to be fearless. Doing it afraid is just as brave. And then I've got one more, I think, up here. You're seeing all my background work here. Oh, yeah. Anytime I keep my word to myself, I'm building my confidence because I'm giving my brain evidence I can trust myself. I'm choosing to follow through on this, and there's a fill in the blank. I'm choosing to follow through on this today. And then I've also made one that says never underestimate the power of sunshine, water, and sleep. I'm choosing to get all three today. Okay? If you are not a member of Club Recreo, but really want the coloring book, I am publishing this coloring book as a hard copy. It will be coming out in September. You can order the book as a hard copy, or you can order the digital copy. I'm selling it right now for $7, and I'll put the link underneath the Facebook post for this replay and underneath the YouTube post for this replay if you want to download the coloring book. But if you're already a member of Club Recreo, any resource that I make, you get as part of the membership, right? So you guys if you're already a member, it's all included. Okay. Okay. So what do we have in the chat box for our checkout, everybody? We've got very, very wise. Yes. I still like the draw like your 2-year-old when you're coloring. So you guys can tell me which one you like better. I'm feeling healthy. I love all of these. Oh, this is a great one. I had a friend who had to have her hand amputated and somebody told her to get over it. Give me a break. You don't just get over it. Great. Yeah. Right? Right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so which one stood out for you, and what is your number now? I went from a 7 to an 8. I think a lot of you had aha moments about the no one, right? No is being kind to yourself. That I'm going to say that's my favorite one from today. If we've gone to 9.5 from 9. If you are watching, Olivia's back there. If you're watching the replay, write it in the chat box. I'm really curious, and let me know which ones you liked the best. And also, if you want, let me know which ones you want turned into a coloring sheet. Like which I will definitely do the no equals being kind to myself for sure. But the other ones that really stuck out for you, if you want me to turn them in, which ones are your favorite, I'll work on those ones first. So you can pop me an email and let me know. Right? Or you can, productivity is not equal to worth. Yep. Okay. Okay. So I'll start working on most of these, but if there's some that you really, really like that you want me to work on first to make into a coloring sheet, let me know. Okay. And if you're not a member of Club Recreo, if you're watching the replay, all you have to do is go to www.myrecreo.health, click the pink button and sign up. You get 14 days free to try it. It's only $47 Canadian a month. And we have 6 classes a week plus all of our other resources too. Okay, everybody. That was great. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching the replay. This was one of my best sessions. I learned so much. Oh, that makes me feel so great. I'm so glad.